Okay, so yeah, this is open mic time. This is your opportunity to pose any what you think might be a productive question for us to talk about as a collective, and something that you might be grappling with, or opportunity in front of you, or a curious question that you have that you think would be useful to have everybody else hear the answer for. So just raise your digital hand if you do want to pose a productive question. And while you are doing that, I'll start out with a question that was posed by Dr. Reverend Bill Dost, who I don't see here on our gallery, but it was a useful question that I think the answer would be interesting for the rest of you. And that'll just give you some time to think about your own and get your hands raised behind Dan and Zach and Dan. And hey, Stefan. All right, great. So let me read you his question, and then I'll give you my answer to that one, and then we'll proceed with the hand raising. So Bill asked, you spent a lot of time during BMC on hiring. However, when we are talking remote, as in Philippines, where we are moving some back-end office function, we're using a firm to outsource legalities of actually hiring, and whereby they do a couple of rounds of interviews themselves. When we start the process of the interview, and we confirm competence in the attitude and culture dynamics fit, is there an issue with a fast hire? These are largely lower level costs to us, 20 to 30,000 annually. My thought process is to hire away and replace through the firm if we need to do so, so we have the bodies. But I want to see your thoughts, and more importantly, am I really off on my BMC hiring learnings that I need a massive refresher? Okay, so here's my answer, and this answer is, I think, relevant to all of you. If you have a second office, or you have a second store, or a second location of any sort, okay? So listen up. So to Bill, I said, if you are building an office in the Philippines, you're going to have a completely different culture there versus stateside, just by the very nature that it is a very different culture, regardless of the environment inside your office. So as a reminder, a culture is simply made up of the people who are in it. That's what it is. That's what a culture is. It is the personality expression of the people that are in it. And the actual culture of the Philippines is different than the United States. Just as the culture is different in California than it is in New Jersey, than it is in Texas, than it is in Idaho. Okay, so what I said to Bill, which I say to you, if you have satellite offices, you want to instill your core values and your core team attributes. You want to set those as standards, but you're going to have to let them create an authentic culture to them over there. So here's the best strategy to do that, to influence a culture outside of your corporate headquarters, or where you have physical leadership capability to affect people in an environment. Okay, it comes down to the one key leader in that environment. So you want to be very involved in finding their local leader, the one who is going to set the example, set the pace, and set the cultural tone, the one that everybody's going to look to. It'll be the alpha of that micro tribe. If you remember from BMC, Starbucks was failing in China for 9 years because it was trying to run China from Seattle. Then Howard Schultz found Belinda Wong, who was native to China, brought her to Seattle, cultivated and indoctrinated her into the Starbucks way, but then let her go back to China and lead the culture authentic to China with Starbucks's core values and key attributes embedded. Okay? But you need a leader, one person who can be the culture setter locally there. So while you can't be involved maybe in all the hires that happen over there and imbued that way in every single person, you need the one leader that you indoctrinate deeply and let them lead the local culture authentically. And just remember this, people will mimic the attitudes, behaviors, expectations, and standards of the alpha, the leader that they are seeing and hearing from and observing environmentally. They won't mimic, can't mimic the leader in some far off distant destination that they don't see, hear, or observe regularly. So as the distant leader, All you have to do is be very selective about the one that they will mimic. Indoctrinate the one, and they will replicate the many over there. Now, to Bill's question about speed, I reminded him that the Ritz-Carlton would interview dishwashers 10 times before they hired them. The same discipline is instilled in hiring at Disney at every level of their organization, at Apple at every level of their organization. And as the adage goes, if you don't have time to do it right, when are you going to have time to do it over? I think that was in today's Darren Daily, as a matter of fact, right? So personally, I don't believe in just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. But, you know, other people have other ways, okay? So if you want to turn and burn and you just want to use the sheer law of averages and the mass volume and let there be, you know, a wake of bodies behind you, totally fine, okay? But just understand that poor hires and churn are the costliest of leadership errors. And then I told Bill, yes, it's always a good time to get back to BMC, to get refreshed, even if not to just get refreshed on these strategies that apparently you drifted from as a result of the question and then my re-explaining the answer. But even if it's just to re-energize your brain and spirit, okay? But I said, hey, no, up to you. I do think now is more important than ever with all the things that we're doing with AI and what I'm going to be doing at BMC, pulling it all together. It's very interesting times we're living in. It's funny how that you could be so excited and so shit scared at the same time about the world we're living in. I mean, it is a phenomenal freaking time to be alive during this transition period. And so I just think the moves that we're all making right now have compounding implications. So yeah, this is the time you want to be as dedicated to your core learnings and growth more than any time. Okay, Dan, I know you had some good questions, and I asked you to bring them to this event. So you have a few. So, and they're all good questions. I think everybody's going to benefit from. So why don't you just hit us with what you got?
Sure. Well, thank you for doing this, Darren. I'll start with just the first question I asked you. So first question is, do you have any tips for incorporating BMC strategies around community marketing in a business like mine? I sell residential real estate where customers don't transact very often. I found that it's hard to create a customer ascension plan when the customers are not interacting with the business very frequently. In my case, it's once every 3 to 6 years. Or do you think that this is a strategy I should just kind of not focus on because of the nature of my business?
Yeah. So are you on your phone? Is that an intention to try to make you look slimming?
No, I'm traveling right now. Sorry.
Yeah. So the fact that you're asking the question kind of tells me that you're thinking tactic minded versus strategy, or you're thinking that a customer equals a transaction. Okay. And trust me, Dan, I had the same mentality when I was young and in real estate as well. And I got trained by many of the same people in real estate that you did. You know, this cold calling and door knocking and expires and FISBOs and turn and burn and turn and burn. But that's just not the way to build an endurable business that doesn't burn you out and keep you on the treadmill of waking up every morning unemployed and not having a replicatable, self-perpetuating business. Just remember that every client, even if they don't actually buy from you, once every 5 to 7 years, you know, at the earliest, every client closed transaction is a testimony that will live ongoing, and B, the most important part, your best evangelist, your best promoters. They are your bird dogs. They are your unpaid salespeople. They are a new soldier in your army marching through the streets of your marketplace. So don't see them as individual transactions. See them as your greatest promoters in the market singing your praises, particularly if you keep cultivating that relationship and keeping you and the relationship that you have with them and what you're doing to be a leader in the community front of mind. And at BMC, I showed you how John Glutch went from the way I started in real estate, the way you're describing your real estate, the sort of constant prospecting, churn and burn, constant, looking for new leads and looking for new clients, to nurturing clients, and how he went from the typical high volume, low repeat type business to 100% referral only, and then multiplied his business 3, 4, 5 times over. I show you Angelina Falleco, who cultivates relationships with her clients' kids, which keeps her endeared to them. And anytime anybody brings up real estate in their vicinity, they have to tell them about Angelina. Amber Anderson, who is my realtor here and 4 or 5 time, 6-time BMC member. I've watched her grow because I'm on her newsletter, how phenomenally she's gone from a transactional agent to a community leader, where she is the centerpiece of bringing the influencers within her micro community together and to benefit each other as a community, but keeping her as the centerpiece, as the broker, as the person of value that made it all come together, and how that is benefiting her and her business with the massive reduction she's got to do in prospecting just by reputation. So for you, Dan, in particular, a realtor, the benefit of the real estate business is that it is very locally defined as a marketplace. So you have the easiest and most obvious value to do community marketing with, to continue to nurture, to bring together, to activate your evangelist. So I think if there's any business that would benefit from it, regardless of the number of times they individually transact, but the amount of times that they could sing your praises and evangelize on your behalf, it is see, it's harder if you have a national business. It's harder to community market, right? But if you're locally, you could become the power broker in town. You could become the person that brings people together for the purposes of whether it is school events, sport events, leadership events, philanthropy events, social events, because you only have this marketplace in which to have yourself be defined. So highly encourage that you pivot that mindset that, oh, this is the best opportunity for me to be a community marketer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now go ahead. Let's go down your list of questions, because I thought all of them were good and worthy.
Sure. Number 2 was, how would you best recommend using BMC strategies when building a company website? I know the new AI portal gave an excellent starting point. Do you think I can really use that to complete a website, or can I avoid paying a 6-figure web designer to utilize those?
Yeah, I have paid 6-figure web designers in the past. So the first thing I want to do is separate the difference between copy and web design. Okay. And the reason why website design companies are crazy expensive is because they think that they need to teach you and to package your brand. And there is a great expertise to that. There's not a great expertise in just the web design. Now there is, but that is not what's expensive. I mean, you can go a lot of places and get graphic design. The expense is in knowing how to package and present and position your brand. So the copy, real copy, as in branding, positioning, packaging, that's what's most expensive. Okay. And an excellent digital agency is best first at that portion of it. But in reality, most actually suck at it. While they will try to tell you that they're great at it, they actually suck at it. And the very few suck a little less than the business owner themselves. But all of you here have to realize how much more astute and educated and insightful you are about brand positioning and packaging as a result of your BMC training. I will promise you that most of you know more about branding, positioning, and packaging through the White Knight, through the trusted advisor, through the persuasive communication framework that I gave you, than most branding agencies, who basically there's one person who's smart, and then they get a bunch of clients, and then they start hiring a bunch of interns and apprentices, and you end up with this group of people who don't know what the frick they're doing. And the one person who does know what they're doing is doing nothing but new client calls. They're not doing any design or actual work anymore. And that's the fall of an agency. So the part of the BMC strategies in our AI portal can do better for you than 99% of digital or brand agencies out there. Again, there's always the rare 1%, but you will pay a hefty price for them, and you'll most likely get snookered 3 to 4 times before you actually find the one that's for real. And somehow you have to get the actual people who know what the frick they're doing inside the agency to actually do your account, which means that you're going to end up paying a significantly greater amount. Okay. And I still have never found one. I know of some because I've seen it from the outside, but in trying to hire my own, I've never found one. So take that for what it's worth. Okay. So I believe, Dan, you could do a much better job taking your BMC strategic knowledge, using the BMC AI portal to get the copy, positioning, and packaging of how you want to be positioned and how you want to communicate what you're about and what you do, and the differentiating value you bring to the best buyer avatar that you want to communicate uniquely with. Then with that, you can go to a web designer, and the cost can be reduced by 90%. Okay, if you already have the brand positioning, copy, and content. So hopefully you are. I think you said you're going to this next BMC because we are making just radical updates to the AI portal. If you attended the demo that I did, or you attend the one that's happening in an hour and 40 minutes, you'll see some of those things, but we are adding things daily to it. And so I would suggest, Dan, anybody that's dealing with what Dan's question about a website and so forth, that you play with several sections. The best buyer section, which is going to be newly added and newly defined. And then you take that and then you go into the content marketing, and then there's a section for web copy and content, and play with it and get its outputs, and then juice it with going into the superfans framework and working with the self-identity prompts, work with the united purpose prompts, and work with the principles prompts. That's the SUP in superfans to get your core message. And with that, I promise you, you can output something far greater than 99% of the agencies out there could do for you. So that would be what I would say. And then once you have that, getting somebody to do the web design, easy peasy.
Got it.
That should, for all of you, save you, if not the 50 or 100 grand that I've paid in the past, tens of thousands of dollars. Now, I want to remind you, if you saw the demo or you watched the demo, it's the 30, 40, 30, which means that you have the strategies. You just have to remind yourself of what strategies from BMC. Use the AI portal. That will do the bulk of the work, but you still have that 30% to shape it, to make sure that you get it right for you. And with the knowledge that you have from the first 30, you'll be able to do that back 30. But what I don't want you to do is just sort of take it as is, that it comes out of the AI. A lot of times it's great, but a lot of times it just needs to be trimmed and shaped and polished up a little bit. And then hit us with your third question, Dan.
Sure. So third question was on books. I actually asked Zach this question this morning. Any tips on how to use or deploy a book that I've written to generate leads in business using BMC strategies? Just tactical tips or ideas that you have on how to implement that.
Right. So I would say we all, when it comes to the book question, turn on my fan here. When it comes to the book question, I would start with the primary question is what's the book for? Like, the main objective is to get new clients. That's the main objective. So the next question is what media does your best buyer avatar consume content the most? Because a book is just content marketing. It's a lead magnet, period. It's not, you're not going to become a novelist. It's a lead magnet. It's marketing material. And so you want to ask my best buyer, where do they consume most of their content? Is it on blogs? Is it through a newsletter? Is that newsletter digital or is it printed and mailed? Is it radio? Is it TV? Is it on YouTube? Or do they listen to lots of podcasts or do they read books? So I would first, before I focus any time and energy on a book, I would figure out if that is where my best buyer is consuming the majority of their content. Because you might find, oh my God, this is a podcast listener. I should focus on a podcast. Or they're not listening to the podcasts. They used to read books. They're not reading them, but they are morning avid readers of a digital newsletter. And so that's where you focus your attention. Or they've got a series of RSS feeds for blogs that they frequent, that they connect to from Twitter. And it's like, that's the main source of content consumption for this particular demographic. And then that's where I would focus as well. Okay. So you want to prepare the bait, meaning the content, the lead magnet that your fish eats. And then you want to fish where your fish are. Okay. And the key point here is that you write the book or you design the podcast or you write the blog on what your target avatar wants to read or listen to, related in some way to you or what you do. Okay. So if you remember from the author section is you don't write the book you want to write. You write the book that your best buyer avatar wants to read. What are their issues? What are their desires? What are their interests related to you and what you've got? And you start even before that is what's the medium in which they consume the majority of their content? And then you focus on that platform. It all starts with your target avatar and you're creating content and solutions and a lead magnet for them. So that's the first consideration. There's two considerations about what medium you focus on your content marketing. And a book is just one of those possible channels. Okay. The second consideration is you, Dan, and everybody else here. What medium are you best at? Are you best on camera? Or do you have a face for podcasting? Are you best at writing? And are you best at short form writing like blog and newsletter, or long form writing like a book? Which would you enjoy the most? Or let's put it this way, hate the least, because whatever you choose will be a beast. See, I chose Darren Daily by accident. I did it as a tribute to Jim Rohn for a year, and then it caught on. But it is a freaking beast that I am tied to now. It's an albatross. So many people have tried to do what I do, a daily video. I pity you, fool. If you have any other life outside of working, I pity you. Nobody can do it because it's a fucking beast. So be careful what you commit to, because if you commit to a podcast, that becomes a beast. I remember, at Success, one of our original brainstorm ideas, I remember we're in the conference, I got it. Let's make this unique. Nobody's done this. We'll put a CD in the middle of the magazine and I'll interview the cover stories and feature stories, that we'll record and put on that CD. And my partner had CD manufacturing facilities on site. So it was like a natural leverage of existing assets. But holy shit, Mariana will tell you, because she was my audio producer. It was like, oh my, like, would the calendar just stop another month, another production of this over and over again? So I just warn all of you that whatever you choose, just know it's going to be a beast. So I want you to A, be good at it, because you'll enjoy it more, and two, make sure that you love it. And you know, another option is keynotes, you know, is speaking. And that's what I did at Success, is that CD, those interviews is what brought a personality expression into the community where they connected to it. And then I just repurposed that content on blog and social content. And the keynotes is what brought them into the community. So those were my two content marketing strategies. Keynotes, which is great because you get paid to actually prospect. And the CDs is where I created a relationship with the community. So everybody needs to understand this in terms of your content marketing. It's really important, because I see people making mistakes. Like, they think they need to write a book, but maybe a book is not the thing that their avatar reads. Maybe that's not the best lead magnet, because remember, the whole objective is client acquisition. And so you got to ask, what is my client going to be attracted to? What are they interested in? Where do they consume content if I'm going to do content marketing? And then what content do I want to create? And if I'm going to be known for this thing, if this is going to be my portal to this community, my channel, I better like it, because I'm going to have to do it a lot, because you want to become great at it. You want to become distinguished as a result of being great at it. So is that helpful?
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right. Dan.
Hey, Darren, how are you?
Great, man.
Good. So first of all, since I came down to see you in February, we have followed kind of your process and your funnel for hiring folks. And I just completed hire number 4. So we're a team of 4 now, and it's been an incredible experience. I mean, the culture that we're building with the new hires is just incredible. So
great.
thank you for helping me think through some of those issues. My question is kind of around that. We have built role scorecards. I feel really good about where the roles for each of these employees, what their vital priorities are. And, you know, we've got all of that broken down in the role scorecards. But we're running into problems on the high performance dashboard and kind of the performance metrics that we use on an individual level that would roll up into the master dashboard. And part of it's just the business structure. We are a low volume, high dollar per project company. So it's not like we have thousands and thousands of transactions. We might have 100 projects that are worth $500,000 a piece. And so I'm struggling with, you know, other than revenue, profit margin, things like that. I'm having a hard time coming up with metrics that I can use so that these folks can measure, my employees or my team members can measure success, which can roll up and we can look at it as a team and measure success. Okay. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Sure. Yeah. So 2 things. Number 1, not every single vital metric on everybody's dashboard needs to have a formula to the master dashboard. It needs to be, what is the result you're paying for that role?
Okay. Okay.
The second thing I would say is that just know that this is always a struggle. Like, this is the hard work of management more than even leadership, because it is that clarity, that just making it super clear so that everybody knows exactly how to win is something Jeremy, my chief of staff, and I, and Kylie, we're constantly having to work on making sure that it's clear now, and then as goals and quarters go by, that they're redefined and they're just as crystal. So if you feel like this is work, it's supposed to be, and it's normal. And if it and the other warning is it's not a set it and forget it. You're going to constantly have to work at it to continue to evolve it as the company evolves, as goals evolve, as roles evolve, because people's roles evolve. And you want to make sure that everything on that dashboard still is in sync with how they make it rain for their role. So those vital metrics, this is what you're talking about, right? The vital metrics in particular. Yeah. You just always have to ask yourself, why are they here? What am I paying them for? Not what to do, but what result are they here to contribute? What am I paying for? At the end of the week, how can I tell whether I got a return on my money from that person? Okay. So what can be measured? It's not going to be dollars and cents. Most of the time, it's not dollars and cents, but it is something that is a measurement of progress towards the result they are paid to deliver. Okay. And if that feels like you still have to think about it a lot, yeah, that's part of the process of effective management. But providing that clarity is so empowering to your team. And if the leadership does the brain damage to get all that stuff clear, your ability to release your team to just focus on productivity is powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll refine that next February when we get together.
Yeah, and these are one of those questions where you take that scorecard, and you load it into Chat GPT, and you explain what it is that you're looking for. Here's what this person's result is being paid for. What are all the ways that I could measure progress to this result on a week over week basis? Because you want something that is measurable on a week over week basis. Okay. Yeah. And sometimes it comes down to, on our team, is almost an NPS score, a review score of the people that, if somebody's in a role of helping other team members, then sometimes it is a review score of their performance over that period of time. We'd like to do that as little as possible. Sometimes it's so nebulous, so ambiguous that you end up, that ends up becoming a default. We want to do that as little as possible, because it just requires them having to get that score from everybody at the end of the week in order to report. But Brenda, maybe, or even Mariana, like, what are some of the roles on our team where we struggled with a vital metric, but we found one still that gave the person in the seat clarity of what they needed to do on a week over week basis? Like, Brenda, how do you define Ashley's? What is on Ashley's dashboard? Is Ashley on? Maybe Ashley could answer.
She is. I do have one team member. She's more of our customer service person. So like you said, when you think about NPS and different things like that, about how you would rate this person and how she can show up and do her job and feel like she's contributing to the overall. What we've done is we found a space for her where she works really well, and where we decided, like, anytime she's in the community and finds a great opportunity for the enrollment team, she transfers that person to somebody else to reach out, make sure they have what they need. So we track transfers, and it's lit her up inside. She loves it. She knows what she's looking for. She's out in the community finding opportunities just to invest in that person, and then also help them ascend as they need to, and she gets them to the right people. So that was a big one when we were trying to find not just that how am I doing score, but we gave her that ability to control it too, which has been really fun to watch her grow in it.
This is an important topic, because I know a lot of you struggle with this, to provide this clarity, and it's so important when you do provide that clarity for your team, to get everybody in that kind of alignment. And just to close the loop on Ashley. Okay, now, so Ashley is in a role where she supports Brenda. She's just almost like a get shit done utility player, right? Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just like, week over week, her projects are going to be variable, and the needs and the ways that she's going to empower the productivity of Brenda and the team around her is going to be variable, but here are her vital metrics. Like this is a perfect example of taking something ambiguous and making it concrete. She measures the number of touches and the number of responses and the number of enrollments. And is that her touches or is that your touches, Brenda?
Those are hers.
Okay. And then elite butts in seats. So she's measuring how many of your butts are in a seat. To be determined BMC redeemed seats. So in other words, you have an inventory and then she's trying to get you to activate those. And then DHTV activations. So we know that if somebody enrolls in Insane and enrolls in Hero's Journey, we want to see that they get activated in the program, because just like Facebook learned early in their early stages, they found that if people could connect with 7 friends on, forgive me if that's the wrong number, because I actually have it in my BMC curriculum, 7 friends, then they would stick. If they didn't find 7 friends within 7 days or something like that, they would abandon the app and not go back. So there's a certain indoctrination onboarding that you want to focus on as an organization for retention and to prevent churn and so forth. And so that's part of her role and responsibility. But we look to find those things that could be measured. Now, none of those are attributed to revenue, but in the end they are, because it is in relationship nurturing is 3 of those. And reduction in churn are the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the consequence is revenue, but she's upstream from the downstream result.
Right.
So we had to find some upstream metrics of activities that we would pay for to produce the downstream results. So that's actually a great question, and I think a good reference point, because I know all of you have roles like that where you're like, they don't produce revenue and they're 3 or 4 levels down, and you've got to find the upstream inputs that they create for the downstream outputs of revenue and retention.
Perfect.
Darren, I have a couple of quick examples too that might be helpful
Great.
for people. So we've also, for certain roles, almost tracked improvements, like project improvements, especially for somebody that maybe doesn't speak up as often, but they're involved in seeing things along the way. And then another one that Allie tracks is basically number of errors. So it's kind of the opposite versus good. It's actually bad, but she's the one who sets up all of our communications. So just making sure that we have OCE is one of our top attributes. So just kind of making sure that that stays top of mind week over week as well.
OCE is obsessive commitment to excellence. In case some of you are unfamiliar with our internal colloquialisms. Great questions. By Dan and Bill, and now you, Dan.
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. I was thinking about you the other day. I was like, I haven't seen or heard from them. Hope they're doing all right.
Yeah, we went to Switzerland for 2 weeks for a holiday. It was nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Disconnected. Yeah. Thanks for all the success vitals and all that, and having those systems in place. We're able to step away and felt like nothing was going to burn down.
Good for you. That's not easy to do as an entrepreneur. You know, that's a big step where a business can operate on its own without the vital organ of the leader.
First time in 15 years in business that we stepped away that long. Before that, 7 days, and we were very uncomfortable about it. This time we felt good about it. I think like day 10, we were getting a little bit skittish. Like, I hope everything's okay, but it was all fine. Everything was good. I have 3 questions, but I also wanted to give you an update from the last walk and talk. So we have successfully totally revamped the schedule, because remember we talked about there's 2 parts of a business. There's sales and fulfillment, and we're very fulfillment heavy. You probably remember from our last walk and talk. So in 2024, we were scheduled to do 250 days of fulfillment. 2025, we're scheduled to do 36.
That's great.
And there won't be a decrease in the number of events. So like we talked to you about, rather than having these long format 8-week programs, we put that into 3. We did the test of the live event in June. It went really great. It sold out. So we're going to ship that now to be a virtual model. So that's huge to go from an 8-week slog of an event that we do 3 times a year to now it's 3 days long. Coaching Academy, we went fully, that was a 13-week event. So now it's evergreen. So that just freed up a lot of room. So that's huge. So I just wanted to give you the update to just kind of close the loop from our last walk and talk. Here's the questions. Number one. So this year by far has been the hardest year for us in 15 years in business, by far. If we look back and we look at it, we're holding steady revenue wise. Profit margins we've been able to improve thanks to tips you gave us in the walk and talk, but it's just, we did not grow this year like we wanted to. Like we had really high expectations of what we thought we could do. So the question is, have you ever had a year like that? What was your go-to strategy? Maybe you went to just shake yourself, from it and then course correct and get back on track to make sure that you had year over year, the next year was a growth year. So that's question number one.
Yeah, we've all had that. And I think I've even talked about this in Elite, like the last year or two were like that.
Yep.
Where we came out of 20 and 21 just ripping. You know, I mean, we went from doing 100-person BMCs to 1,000, 1,100.
Yep.
So the business multiplied.
Yep.
And everything around it. And as I explained, I think in one of these sessions last time as well, is that if you grow 25% a year for 2 years, you will break half your people and half your systems. And so the growth superseded our ability to keep up with it. And we most certainly experienced that. And we are now just getting barely, we probably have a roll or so left to getting on the other side of that. We've replaced our entire merchant account shopping cart system, our entire landing page web stack, and all of our analytic software, on and on and on and on. So we've had to and we replaced a lot of people.
Yep.
As well. And so yeah, we've been going through that same situation. So it's not abnormal, and you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. I think also the economy has been weird, particularly the attention economy has been weird the last couple of years. I think everybody was the transition from the physical world to the virtual world in 20. And then I think that sort of got exhausting. And more things came online for attention consumption.
Yep.
And so you're just fighting with a greater level of noise, unprecedented. And then forget all the rest of the political and
circus,
cultural and technical and all the rest of that stuff. So I think a lot of businesses, and maybe this is comforting for everybody to hear, like a lot of businesses, I think those that positioned themselves or were positioned to benefit from some of the economic upswings coming out of the pandemic rode that and then flattened. So if you've flattened and not fallen, I would call that a huge win.
Yep. Yeah, we're flat year over year.
Because you in our case, we shot up.
We did too.
And if as long as the pendulum didn't swing back to the other side and you flattened, I will tell you that's a huge win, because your people and system can't handle that sort of level of growth without breaking, and then you having to take a pause or a step or two back in order to take multiple steps forward. So what we did is we looked at what those three things, what I call our bigger, easier framework.
Yep.
It's three things that are consequential to running a scalable business: people, systems, and choices.
Yep.
So obviously we had to look at the capabilities of our people and what we were tolerating and who we are now versus where we were. And we need a different level of talent. And so they might've been great to get us to where we were, but they're not enough to get us where we are.
Yep. Yeah.
So I to do that. The systems, same thing. We had to blow out a lot of the systems. That was super painful and super laborious and costly.
Yeah.
But what's absolutely necessary. And now, we're in a position where we can rock it and easier, like so much easier. Kylie will attest to it. She's been in the midst of leveraging our systems. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe how fast and easy and simple and how much we can do and how much I can see. And, it's like, I didn't even know this world was possible. I didn't know that we could fly a plane with full instruments and you weren't just flying blind. And
Right.
so, and then the third in choices is going back to your core.
Yep.
I always say that if you want immediate growth, default back to your winners. What has worked already? Because what happens is when things work, you start adding and you start adding and you start adding, and you end up building this albatross that you're trying to keep up with, and you're trying to do a lot, and only a couple of few things are actually working still.
Yep.
And so, and it's okay. I feel like that's breathing. Sometimes you gotta try some things and get expansive, and then you don't just keep chasing the expansive. Find the things that then worked, and then double down on your winners, and become a lot simpler and more focused. And just ask the question: when were we growing the most? That's question number two. Number two is what were we selling? And how are we selling it? You get the answer to that, and you say, great, let's do that again.
Yep.
More and better. And that will get you out of a stagnant state.
Nice.
If you're flat, that'll get you back into a growth mode again. And it takes an extreme amount of discipline to trim a lot of the things you thought you were going to define your future with.
Yep.
Only to realize that it was taking capacity and attention and wasn't producing enough of results. And that's the biggest challenge is producing some result,
Yep.
but not enough.
Yep.
There's plenty of things, and Kylie will tell you, plenty of things that we want to do. Like she was really gung ho because she had just experienced it, recently. She went through Jumpstart. She's like, we need to reproduce that. It's so great, but we did it during COVID, and it was done like this in front of your computer. Like, we need to reproduce it, get it in the studio. And I'm like, that's a great idea, but can I show you in the line items of what has consequence to the business in terms of impact and revenue, how inconsequential that is?
Right.
But it feels like you should do it and you want to do it.
Yeah.
But it just, in the grand scheme of bigger, easier, it just doesn't get to the top of the list. But that's hard. It's hard to turn away a lot of things that you want to do, that you could do, that are working, that are successful, that could be even more successful, but not successful enough.
Yep.
So hopefully that's helpful for a lot of people.
Huge gold.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darren. Gold. It's getting some ideas going already. I know Shay's probably taking a lot of notes too. Number two, in the last year, we've had the most people ever default on their installment plans. Any tips on how to mitigate this?
Well, one of the big changes we made is we ripped our entire finance department out.
Yeah.
We did an audit on it. This is probably exposing too much information. No disrespect to the previous folks, but we found that we had 3 people doing 25% of the expected output when we had the auditor take a look at it. Somebody who knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
And we hired one person, and they're doing the work of 3 with one arm tied behind her back. And the other thing we did is we outsourced collections. So, and they're doing a fantastic job, and better than our internal team. It's quite frankly by the fact that, so the fastest, easiest way to fix that is to actually outsource it.
I was going to ask. Yeah.
Now, one of the things about it is we found a company, we hired their best person out of it internally.
Yep.
And they now manage the company doing the outsourced collections.
Genius.
Yeah. So you still want somebody in-house who cares, who's
Yep.
indoctrinated, who's drinking the Kool-Aid, that is going to make sure that your clients are communicated correctly with empathy and love and appreciation and relationship, but they're going to do the job of the hardcore collection part of it.
So you had 3 people, now one person replaced the 3. And you're saying the 3 people had, you said 25% the output they should have.
Yeah, they were doing a quarter of the output, and we were losing $1 million a year.
Right.
1 million a year on inadequate output.
Yeah, you're losing.
That was the wake up call. That was the wake up call. It's like,
output gone. Like if let's say you want them at 80, 90% output, they're not even close at 25%.
No.
Shit.
Yeah. So we cleaned the 3, got the 1, outsourced the hardcore. But what this one person is doing is way more than the 3 were doing, way more, because she actually has financial acumen. She's doing great reporting. She's being proactive about installing and building in things that we didn't even have before.
Yep.
So, and a lot of the heavy lifting, communication, so forth is happening outside. So,
okay. Outsource. All right. We'll look into that.
Yeah.
Cool. Question number 3. So it builds upon what you said a minute ago, what worked before. The way we got on the map when we started our business was doing keynotes. Back then, vlogs weren't a thing. So we're kind of at a crossroads right now, trying to figure out, okay, cool. We stopped doing keynotes around COVID when keynotes stopped existing. And then we just took a break. And then we're like, if we don't have to travel, why travel? But it's in our heads right now. Do we think about doing it again? Or do we preserve that energy so we don't have to travel? Because nowadays, if we're going to travel, it's going to be Steph, Shay, Bash, plus our nanny. So there's 4 of us, unless I just buzz off and go do a keynote and then come back. So we're kind of at a crossroads. Want to know what you think between invest in keynotes, which has worked before, which is great from an income standpoint, but then also a lead standpoint. Like you said, you get paid to get new leads, or put that energy, and we have a studio, start doing the vlog that we've wanted to do for a minute, and not travel. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious what you think. Like, what, or is it both? I mean, where? I know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going to give you a very strong personal opinion on this, only because this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Unless you love traveling and being in hotels and airports and car services, and you just need that adulation on stage, and it's my passion. And there are some people who it is. So like, I wouldn't want to say, don't do that if that is what like gives you life. Like that's your joy of life. If that is, it's work. And I got a young son and I got a family, and I would rather not have, you can reach so many people far more regularly digitally than you possibly can fly and drive and pack a bag to go see.
Yep.
It's you produce one blog that gets 1,000 views. It's like talking to a room of 1,000.
It's true. Every day, perpetually. Yeah. Because
it lives on. Yep. Right. So I just don't, by the sheer metrics, it doesn't even possibly make sense unless somebody's ego needs it, or their passion needs it, or their heart needs it. It doesn't possibly make sense to me personally.
Yep.
And I, once you get off the treadmill of traveling, like I can't even imagine doing that again.
Yeah. we traveled so much from 2009 until 2018.
Yeah. I did too. I look back and I go, I don't even know how I did that. I didn't even know how it was physically, spiritually possible to do what it is.
Yeah.
that I did.
We went on like there was one point, it was a 10-week travel tour, not at home once, came back and slept for a week. It was just, it was exhausting. So it's less the desire to travel, less the desire to be on the stage. It's more talking about bigger, easier. What will be bigger, easier? And it seems like invest all that time and energy and resources and never have to leave our confines.
I mean, bigger, easier is, I mean, on a bigger, easier framework, that's an obvious.
It's vlog.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Your reach is far greater than what you could ever get in front of in a auditorium. Far greater.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know, Darren Daly hits 350,000 people a day.
A day.
And I've no plane, no travel, no, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people like, we'll pay him whatever. It's like my good friend, Cody Foster, who everybody knows, he's our #1 influencer. He has his 20-year anniversary in Topeka, Kansas. He says, I want you to be, you know, we're trying to find the best we've had in 20 years. I'm like, no. I said, you have no idea what kind of request that is. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's because it's not what it would cost me in terms of a trade-off of what I could do alternatively.
Yep.
Is crazy. The metrics are crazy.
Yep.
By comparison. So,
well, then
I know the compulsion. I know the compulsion. I know the pull. I know the pull, and I know okay, things aren't going as well as you want to. So you start defaulting back to old.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Totally. But it's a new world, man. It's a new world. Play with the reach that the new world gives you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 tips. If we're going to say, okay, middle October, we're going to start this. What would be 3 tips for the vlog that you'd give Shay and I?
Same thing I said to Dan. #1 is that where your primary avatar is consuming the majority of their content. If the answer to that is yes, what do they want to hear?
Yep.
Not what your passion wants to talk about. What do they want to hear?
Yep.
And be valuable to valuable people.
Yep.
As you define by your best buyer avatar, and just figure out how can I be more and more valuable to that person. And that's why people will watch and listen.
Yep.
You know, people like short, long, it doesn't matter if it's fucking valuable.
I know.
It's true. Great. People will binge.
Totally.
Yeah. So none of that is consequences. Like, who are you going to be valuable to by definition, demographic, psychographic, and then be valuable.
Yep.
That's it. All right.
Darren, thank you. Thank you, the A-team, and best to Georgia as well. All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Darren, good to see you.
Lisa, and is Lisa the last? Yeah. Lisa. Hi.
Yep. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so a couple of months ago, I identified some issues with our SEO on our website, and I had some similar questions that have already been asked about hiring somebody outside, which you've already, given some good information on that. But I wanted to know from you, how do you kind of keep an eye on your SEO? And is it something that you manage internally? Do you hire an outside company? We were always on page 1. And so I kind of, stopped paying attention, which was obviously, my mistake. But I'm curious as to if it's something you do in-house. Do you
remind me your business, Lisa?
It's a physical therapy, performance and wellness center.
Okay. Again, this is my disclaimer. This is personal preference. I don't give a shit about SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's searching for a mentor, or they're not searching for what I have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a search term that it's not a, so I don't care about SEO.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think we pay attention to it. I don't think we even are aware of our SEO. Because what I'm going to do is marketing. I'm going to drive the traffic. I'm going to tap into the traffic. I'm not organic. Then the SEO, like it's not relevant my world, I would imagine it's probably not incredibly relevant in yours either. Unless you know that people are actually searching for what you have, like actively searching for what you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it might be relevant.
And
Okay.
that's how I mean, through Google reviews many years ago, that we used to be predominantly like clients referred other clients, and then all of a sudden it took off online. And so many people, like I run into people that I meet for the first time that have an issue, and they're like, oh, well, I searched for, physical therapists, near me, and you didn't show up. Like I should be
Oh,
showing
physical
up.
therapist. Okay. All right. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So then if it does matter to you, that's great. It doesn't for me. So what's my strategy? I have no strategy. But if it does matter for you, that is the one thing AI is excellent at. It can do all your SEO. All you have to do is ask it. Put the page in and say, what are the meta tags? What is the SEO that I need here? And it'll output for you. Remember, it's code, it's an algorithm. That's all SEO is. So if there's, is it okay with math? Is its copy and comprehension? And it's like, all those are a little bit of a mystery, but with SEO, nails. The other thing I will say is that SEO is going to start mattering less and less and less and less and less, because less people are going to Google to search and they're going to AI. It's already probably diminished half the search traffic. So, but again, a physical therapist near me, that's definitely a Google search. And I would say, you talk about Google reviews. Now, Google reviews is different than SEO. I would definitely be paying attention to my Google reviews, my Yelp reviews, and the rest of that, because that most certainly is going to have consequence on people choosing you over somebody else and finding you to begin with. So do you have somebody internally that's looking at that, responding to that, helping cultivate that? Or do you take patients and you ask them and reward them for reviews on those platforms?
Yep, we have a whole system.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Around that, because years ago I found it was hugely helpful in people finding us, but over the last couple of years it doesn't seem to be as relevant. I mean, we still do it, but it doesn't seem to impact us as much as it used to.
So do you have just a website and that's it, or is it constantly evolving and changing and updating, and like, is it a set it and forget it, or is it?
We have definitely added things to it. We created a back to normal on demand. We have some landing pages that kind of connect to it and feed out,
Do you have a webmaster? Do you have somebody that's responsible for that?
I have somebody that is managing it, but they probably, I'm looking for somebody else to manage that. Cause
Okay. All they have to do is use AI. You don't need in my opinion, you can choose to pay somebody and they're going to do the same thing. You just put it into AI. It'll give you all of what you need for your search optimization.
Okay.
Yeah. But whoever is managing your website, I'm not saying you do it. I'm saying whoever is going to be publishing the page, all they have to do is do an AI inquiry and they'll get all the relevant SEO optimizations there. Because it's just a hand waving to the Google web crawler. Hi, I'm here. This is what we're about. It's a set. It's not like somebody's doing anything actively on a daily basis.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So that will save you some money.
Okay.
Yeah. And in most cases, it'll probably be more effective.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to turn it back to you to round up. Hopefully we had some productive discussions. You guys pulled away, gleaned some insights, got some distinctions, maybe some applications to your own clarity of thought and thinking and how you're going to go about leading your enterprises based on our discussion. I would love to hear later, if you can maybe send a message back to Brenda or comment in the Hardy Club. If we post anything, post this to what you did take away and whether it was valuable or not, because we determine whether we're going to do these damn things, whether it's worth it or not, like, hey, this is your time. This is my time. And I want to know that it is worth it or not. And if it is worth it, even more what you would like to see as part of these discussions, and we'll curate it together. Okay. And Brenda, I'll let you cap us out.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed their time here today. As we talked about before, this is something Darren does not do only for you. So I hope you're feeling pretty awesome right at the moment. I know I am, because I get to sit here and listen to all of it. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. And if you did enjoy it, please give us a thumbs up, hearts, whatever you'd like to do. Thank you, Darren, for taking the time to be with us. And we will see you at October BMC. I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you very much.